Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another great edition of my Grue Rume Show. My hair looks like a mess. And for my Grue Rume Show today, I am going to be bringing on an actress, and her name is Kalyn Miles. If I said your name wrong, I apologize. I'll have you say it when you come on. And she is in this new series out on Paramount Plus called Skull Spirits, and she plays Mrs. Fields in Skull Spirits. And Peyton List is one of the main stars that many of you know her from the martial arts series that she's in, Cobra Kai. But yeah, this is definitely a great TV series, and you if you haven't seen it yet, you should definitely see it. I'm a big fan of it, and that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to bring in the actress who plays Mrs. Fields. I am Rocco Cross. I am the host of Stutters. I am the host of the Grue Room. And my interview with Miss Miles will be coming up very soon. This is my Grue Room, and as always, welcome to my nightmare. Stay tuned. Okay, thank you for taking time out of your night and welcome to Grue.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Definitely. I'm really happy you are here. So the first thing I want to say is I love the ACDC shirt. Are you a fan of hers?
Thank you. Yeah. See, again, I'm an 80s, 90s girl.
Nice, nice. I love that band. Like
One of my
I love.
all-time favorite bands. The Razor's Edge is actually, The Razor's Edge is to this day one of my favorite albums.
Okay, nice, nice. So do you like their newer stuff too, or do you prefer the older stuff?
I don't know much of their newer stuff. I think I'm great with music. I'm okay. You know what? That's a lie. I'm a weird thing with music. I have like all my tastes from like junior high and high school. And then with those groups that I liked back then, I almost feel like my like for them stopped then. And I sort of never evolved with them, except for the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers, also one of my all-time favorite bands. And then I know like what's really trendy and happening now and today and can stay really current. But it's almost like if it's like an older band that I knew from a certain time in my life, I almost like get stunted. And it's like those women whose fashion never evolves past their 20s. I'm almost like that with my music.
Yeah, same. Like I'm stuck in that era too. Like that's what I like 80s metal and hair metal.
Like big hair bands. And I mean, I have to say, I actually am shocked to even hear that AC/DC has newer stuff. Like I wasn't there that was still going on for them.
Yeah, they like when's the last song they put out? Probably like a few months ago.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to follow up on that. Yeah.
And then like I saw Guns and Roses, like they came to Philly for a tour just recently, not about
Guns and Roses.
Oh my god, they were so good live.
But again, I think that my love and knowledge of Guns N' Roses stopped at Use Your Illusions 1 and 2. I don't actually think that my knowledge of their repertoire, I don't think it evolved after those 2 albums.
Okay.
I would have to go back and kind of look chronologically. Same as Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Like I think what it would have been in the 90s when they were doing like Crying and Amazing.
Yes.
I kind of think that's when my knowledge of what Aerosmith is doing, it kind of stopped then.
Okay.
I know. Now that I'm talking about this out loud, I'm realizing I have this big gap of time in my musical knowledge. Like I'm starting to, so in 2000, I went to theater school for musical theater. And I think probably what happened is for like maybe 5 to 8 years, most of my music was focused on musical theater. And then I must have come back to like pop culture music. Because now that we're talking about it out loud, I'm like, there's a big gap in like my musical knowledge and like my fandom, where I'm like, I can't account for those years. I don't know. Yeah.
She's like, yeah.
I have some research to do.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You have to see what they made from the 90s to now, and
exactly.
And, we were talking a little bit before we came live. Like, it's awesome that you're wrestling, like an old school wrestling fan too, because that was my favorite era of professional wrestling was.
Well, I had big brothers, and like I said, you know, growing up in the 80s and early 90s, I guess, like especially in the 80s, I had 2 older brothers, and they were just obsessed with wrestling. And like I had said before we started, it was the WWF era.
Yes.
Because I think it's called WWE now.
Well, yeah, that's what it's called now. Yeah.
You know, my brothers were obsessed with it. They would we would watch it every Saturday, and then my brothers would just go crazy and like make us reenact things. But again, you know, if you were to ask me anything about wrestling now, I couldn't tell you anything.
Yeah.
It was kind of like I watched it at that point in my life, and then that just sort of fell off for me. But I loved it. I loved it when I watched it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, like Mach and Hogan and Warrior.
And the tugboat and like the Hart Brothers. And yeah. Ted DiBiase and the $1 Million Man.
Yes.
Yeah. It was like a time.
That was such like a fun era for wrestling.
It really was. It was really fun.
Definitely.
It felt like it was like more wholesome back then too. You know?
Compared to now, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I understand. It's like it's a little dirtier, a little darker now. Yeah.
I mean, like the only thing you had going on then that was on the dirty side, but wasn't even like it was with the whole love triangle with Elizabeth, Macho Man, and Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're in the world of acting. So is there anything that drew you that made you fall in love with it?
I mean, if you were to ask my family, you know, my mom will still tell you that when I was growing up, like I've always been funny. That's kind of always been like my go-to, and the thing that I guess I've always been known for as funny, even as a little kid. Okay. And I always loved entertaining people. I loved it. I love to tell a story. I love to tell jokes. I love, you know, I'm not going to be one of those actors that's like, oh, I like to keep a low profile. That's not me. Like I have to be honest. I love being the center of attention. You know, when I'm at a party, I love having the room. I'm one of those people, you know, everybody's different. You've got like your introverts and your extroverts, and then your introvert extroverts. And I really am one of those people, like I get fueled by connecting with other people, by talking and laughing, and I get really fueled by entertaining people. And I think I've been like that since I was a little kid. Okay. And, you know, the story that my mom, if you were to ask my mom this question, what she would tell you is that, like, even as a little kid, and I hate to ever admit this because people always want me to do impressions for them. I used to be really good at impersonations when I was younger, like really, really spot on with them. And we used to, as a family, we would drive across the country
Mm-hmm.
to visit my grandparents. And in the car, I used to entertain my siblings I have a photographic memory.
Oh,
And
wow.
we would watch a TV show and I would be able to do the TV show word for word. And
Oh my God.
I used to reenact like an episode of Three's Company for my siblings to entertain them. And I would do all the characters and I'd be able to do all of the characters' voices. And so I was always kind of drawn to it. And then, you know, as a teenager, I went through my too cool for school phase where drama was for dorks and whatever. And when I was in high school, I had an English teacher that part of the curriculum, he would take us to the big A-list theater here to see plays that we would watch, and then we would have to kind of dissect them and whatever in class.
Oh, okay.
And we had gone and seen a couple of musicals, and very quietly, I didn't want to admit it to anybody, I just fell in love. I absolutely fell in love. And I was so mesmerized by it and so into it. But I always thought that if you wanted to be an actor, you had to have started when you were little. Mm-hmm. Like at this point, you know, when I really recognized that I was super, super in love with theater, which is where I got my start. I remember an aunt saying to me, like, you love it. And I said, if I could have any wish in the world to do anything I wanted, I would want to be an actor. And she was like, well, why can't you? And at this point, I think I was maybe 20, 21.
Okay.
Like, well, you can't. Like, you have to, you know, people who do it, they've been doing it since they were little. But that was sort of like a catalyst moment for me, because it was the first time that I'd ever admitted out loud that that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, I would go for runs or go for walks and I would like fantasize about being an actor. And when I finally said it out loud, everything kind of took off quite quickly. I ended up auditioning for a musical theater program in my post-secondary, and I got in, which was crazy. I was shocked because I had never really danced. I had never really sang. I did very little training to prepare for the audition.
Okay.
And then my start was in musical theater. And then when I graduated from that program, you know, I lived in a city at the time that had a really good theater scene, but it was very hard to break into. And it was also especially really hard to break into being a female of color. It was way back when there just weren't opportunities for people of color, especially in theater, but also very, very much in film and television. And so I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I knew I wanted to act. And I had the opportunity to read for a film and television agent in Vancouver. He didn't have anybody on his roster at the time that looked like me, because like I said, at that time, there were the opportunities that we've seen open up for people of marginalized groups in the last 4 years. It's moved so quickly compared to what it was
to what it was back
moving
then.
Up until then. Like, they're really, 2-3 days on set before 2016, 2-3 days on set in 1 year was a good year for me, because there just weren't the opportunities. So when I really recognized, especially in theater, that there weren't going to be those opportunities for me as a person of color, and quite honestly, I had been in musical theater where you have to be a triple threat. I am a threat and a half at best. I'm a fantastic actor. I can sing. I would never call myself a singer and insult actual singers that way. And I can barely dance to save my life. So those two things working together, really, I was very aware that if I wanted to act, it wasn't probably going to be in theater.
Okay.
And I also I have to be honest, I had my sights set on bigger things.
Yeah.
I really wanted the trajectory that comes with a film and television career. And I would be lying if I said I didn't want the acknowledgement and I wanted people to know who I was. I wanted to be and I still do. I want to be a household name one day. And so I had the opportunity to read for this agent and move into film and television. And so I did, and the agent signed me, and I moved to Vancouver, and that's kind of where film and television started for me. And it was a slow journey for a really long time. Things really only picked up for me 2016, and then again 2017, 18, 19 were slow, and then the last couple of years have been really, really good to me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you still live in Canada or?
I do, yeah.
Oh,
I live
nice.
in Canada. I live in Vancouver. That's like my main residence.
Okay.
I really love it. I think that Vancouver will always be a home base for me. I want more opportunities to explore more avenues of working in the States, like they shoot a lot of stuff in Georgia, and I would love to be there. I would love to spend more time in LA. I'd love to spend more time in New York.
Yeah.
I spent summer in Chicago, taking classes at Second City and doing a bunch of that kind of stuff. I really just love to work. I love to work so much. I love what I do, and I feel so blessed and so fortunate all the time that I get to do what I do. And I feel really blessed and fortunate that I was a person that was born with the tenacity to do what I do. There's a lot of actors in this industry. I started when I was 22, and I'm 46 this fall.
Okay.
And I've had a lot of years where it didn't feel like it was going to go anywhere. And there's a lot of actors that wouldn't still be in it, but what keeps me in it is my love for it, and my drive is constantly nourished by how much I love what I do. That I sort of, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and they asked if I would go to Toronto, and I said, I will go wherever the work is. I just want to work.
Well, so, yeah, exactly.
If I book something tomorrow and my agent was like, but it shoots in a small town in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota, I would be like, great. I live in Minnesota now because I just want to work. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because I heard, like, I mean, of course everyone knows, like, the big film areas is New York and Los Angeles, but then I heard Atlanta, Georgia has been picking up on filming.
They're doing so much stuff in Georgia.
Yeah, and Canada now, I hear, like, there's a lot going on in there, right?
It's to me, man. Vancouver is huge. I'm in Alberta right now. I'm here in Alberta,
nice.
Visiting my family, and I grew up in Alberta. And Alberta's huge. I mean, The Last of Us, the first season of The Last of Us was all shot in Calgary, and some scenes here in Edmonton.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's really helped the economy in places like Edmonton and like Calgary, which is fantastic. And there really is such a good film and television industry up here in Canada. And especially, I mean, I can't speak to the East Coast. I know there's a lot going on the East Coast, a lot of really good projects in the East of Canada, but I have nothing but really amazing things to say about the industry here in Canada, especially in Vancouver and in Alberta, and how we've been given these opportunities to create a film and television industry here. And between production companies and the crew and the immense talent that exists up here in Canada, we've really forged an industry of our own. And it's very exciting.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just riddled with opportunity, which is, I think, amazing.
Wow, nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw, like, I was looking through some of the stuff that you were doing, and before we get into, like, school spirits, like, I saw you also did a couple holiday films too, Christmas films. So how is that experience like it? Because around that time of the year everyone watches the Hallmark Channel and all that stuff, and
well, I mean, I love Christmas, so I love to be a part of a Christmas movie. And again, the Hallmark and movie of the week aspect of the industry is really what created originally such a big industry here in Canada. It really was those types of projects that gave us this big industry and gave actors the opportunity to work as much as we've all been able to work. Okay. You know, I never want to bite the hand that feeds me. There are aspects of it that it's not entirely my wheelhouse. I prefer comedy, broad comedy. I prefer, I prefer a world that resonates a little bit more with a world of which everybody can relate to. The Hallmark stuff is very aspirational, and it really does cater to a very specific audience. Yeah. But at the same time, it's really fun because everybody loves them, and people can say that they hate them, but there is a very, very big audience for them. And a lot of the times, it's so funny, especially when I'm in Alberta, when people find out that I'm an actor, and I'll tell them some stuff that I've done, like some really cool projects. Mm-hmm. But the thing that they're always the most excited about is when they find out that I've done Hallmark movies, and they're like, "Wait, really? What ones? And tell me more." And I love those, and my mom loves them, and oh my God. And so there is a really big audience for them, and that's great. As long as there's that audience, they're gonna keep getting made. And
of course,
the format of them is changing too. We're seeing streaming platforms like Amazon and Netflix are making their version of Hallmark movies. Yeah. And the format is getting looser. We're seeing more room for comedy. I mean, Lindsay Lohan did one this Christmas.
I know. I saw that. Yeah.
Fantastic. It was so much fun, and it was so funny, and it was really fresh. And I think, I've done a couple. I did one called School Spirits. In 2016, the lead was Laura Bell Bundy, who's this brilliant Broadway star and film and television star. And it was really fun. And the director had a bit of a looser vision and let us have a lot more fun. I did 2 this summer with a director named Aubrey Arneson, who's just brilliant. And she gets actors, and she's very funny. And so she allowed for them to be broader in the comedy and to really kind of push the envelope on what is allowed for these kind of movies, and to go, she, has kind of opened up and gone, people love Christmas, and they love to feel, and they love love, but they also love to laugh, and they love goofiness, and they love that silliness. And so I think we are seeing that the format of them is changing a little bit, which is exciting. It's making the movies a lot more fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, because that's what I do around Christmas time. Like me and my mom, we do like the whole Christmas film and Hallmark thing, and
the moms love them. The moms love the Hallmarks.
Yes, yeah.
I'll be on something like School Spirits or Are You Afraid of the Dark, and my mom has no interest in watching me.
Oh, really?
My mom is so supportive. Like, there isn't a bigger fan in the world. But it's just not her genre. But if I'm in one of those romantic comedy style movies, my mom absolutely wants to watch them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. She just doesn't want to be scared.
She's scared. She's not a big fan of like the spookiness or the silly. My mom doesn't like silly comedy. She's a tough audience, but okay. She likes the romantic comedies a lot.
Okay. And it was funny. You say you were on another film called School Spirits, and now you're in the Paramount Plus horror comedy series. Yeah.
So School Spirits is the Paramount Plus show that I'm on. The other one was called Season's Greetings.
Oh, okay.
But School Spirits is the one that's streaming on Paramount Plus right now.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And how did you wind up getting involved with the series?
That was a great, awesome surprise last year. I read for the role. When I read for it, I could just tell right away the audition material that they sent me. I could tell that it was a really cool show. It was very, very well written. which made my job all that much easier. And so I did an audition for it and sent it away. And I found out a couple days later that I was in the mix for the role, which really surprised me. I really assumed that a role like this was going to go to an American, or that it was maybe already cast and they were just kind of looking at me, you know, asking me to read for this particular role, but going to keep me in mind for other parts. And so then when I found out that I was in the mix for it, that was really exciting. And then I got to do a callback with the two creators of the show. The show is based on a novel that's coming out later this year. And one of the showrunners, Oliver Goldstick. And it was so funny when I did that callback, I was so sick. I was so sick. I woke up that morning. I had a horrible ear infection, a horrible throat infection.
Oh my God.
I went to the walk-in clinic. I got antibiotics and painkillers. I called my agent. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And I went to bed. My callback was at, I think, 4:30. I went to bed until the absolute last minute that I could. Weirdly, for that hour that I was doing the callback, my body just like kicked into high gear. I felt fine. I did the callback. It was such a great experience. They were so supportive, and I actually couldn't have had a better audition. Finished it, turned to my coach who was doing all my reading for me, and I was like, that went so well. And he was like, that was unbelievable. And then I went home, passed out. All of a sudden, at 6 a.m., I passed out and I slept for 3 days straight.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then I got the call that I got the part like maybe 4 or 5 days later. And I was thrilled because I knew that it was going to be multiple episodes. And I knew it was going to be a big show. I knew it was going to be really cool. And I was just really excited about the project itself. And the role itself was really different for me. It was a little bit more on the serious side.
Okay.
It wasn't a comedy.
Well, no.
Me, which was unusual. And so it was great because it was a different challenge for me. And it felt like I was leveling up, and I was getting the opportunity to try to do something that I wasn't used to doing, and to be seen in a way that people weren't used to seeing me as.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because in School Spirits, you play Mrs. Fields, and and she, like you share a lot of the scenes with the Christian, the guy Christian. I forgot the role he plays in the series now. Simon. I was drawing a blank.
Torres is so brilliant. He's such a brilliant kid.
Yeah, he's really good. Like I like the first time you ever come on screen. Well, first time Mrs. Fields is on screen, like he's like having words with Mrs. Fields because you know, he feels like that people aren't trying hard, looking hard for Peyton List. And
exactly. And he, you know, he's such a fascinating kid. He's very smart. He's so smart. He's almost a little too smart for his own good. But such a phenomenal actor. I mean, my job, every time I had a scene with Christian, my job was so easy. You know, as long as I was listening to him, it was so easy to just say my dialogue and react and stay in that scene and stay true to that character and stay true to what it was that they were asking of me, because Christian just gives 150% with every single take. I've never seen an actor actually give as much off camera as he did on camera. And so every time we would turn around and the coverage would be on me, like, my job was just so easy. The hardest part of my job working with Christian was not going, in the middle of each scene, because I was just constantly always so blown away by his performance. And I mean, I felt that way about all of that cast. Those kids are all so talented.
They really are.
They all work so hard and make it look really, really easy. And every single one of them, like Kiara, who plays Nicole, is just effortlessly brilliant. She's just so good. And I knew she was brilliant working on the show, but it really drove the point home when I saw the first episode, and I was like, my God, this girl has something really, really special. And so I felt, just really blessed that I got to play this really awesome role.
Yeah.
And, except for Peyton and Milo and a handful of them, there was a couple of kids that I would be considered much more seasoned than them.
Oh, okay.
But they really, their work and what they brought to the table, it didn't matter if I was in a scene with them. They just made me look good. And I felt really, really blessed for that. And they were all, on the other side of it, if anybody that's listening wants to know, they're all such nice kids. They're all so nice that you're just like, wow, you guys are the whole package. I think every one of them is going to do very, very well. Because they're all so talented, and they're really kind, and they all work so hard. I'm really happy for them that the show's going so well for them.
Yeah, definitely. And like you were saying, like everyone on that cast is so good, because I'm a big fan of the show. I watch the show.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and like a lot of people, when they first heard about the show, like a lot of people watch it because Peyton lists, because she's hot right now off of the other television series. and most of the people tuned in because they wanted to see her. But then, like, once you watch the series, like every actor on that show is amazing.
Yeah, they're all really, really talented.
Yeah.
And again, for anyone, for those of you that are listening that are curious about Peyton, one of the things that I find so interesting about Peyton is she often plays like a really hard ass character.
Yeah, exactly.
But she is so sweet. She could not be more opposite than the hard ass that you get on screen. She is such a delight. She is an absolute sweetheart. She's a little quiet, and has kind of, it took me, like, on the first day I was kind of watching her, I was kind of trying to figure her out. I was like, I think that Peyton might be a little bit shy.
Oh, really?
As soon as we kind of, broke that, she's awesome. And yeah, she's an absolute and total sweetheart. I was a little intimidated by her at first, and then I was like, I think that she's actually just a really, really sweet kid who might be a little bit shy. I could be wrong, but that was the impression that I got. And I really, I didn't have a ton of scenes with her. I had a few, but I really enjoyed, whenever I got to work with her, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, wow. And like, how is it like to film a scene like that? Because, of course, if you're a fan of the show and watching the show, like Peyton lists' character as a ghost. And like when you're shooting the scene, like you have to pretend that she's not standing right next to you.
Yeah.
Like how is that hard to do sometimes? Like knowing that she's like right there.
And sometimes her dialogue interjects with ours. Like there's this scene where she comes into the classroom and I'm talking to Simon, but she's talking to Simon.
Yeah.
Responding to her, but I'm responding to him. It was challenging. I mean, because there's kind of two things that you're always trying to focus on when you're on set. For me, I'm always like, don't look down the barrel of the lens. Don't look into the camera. And sometimes your eye line is just off of the barrel. Yeah. And it's like you're working so hard to not look at it. And then with this show, it was added, and also don't look at Peyton.
Yeah, exactly. Because she's a spirit.
Would have to leave the scene and walk right by her as if I'm walking almost through her.
Yeah.
And that's hard. And because as humans, our human nature is to kind of move our shoulders.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
To avoid, elbowing her, whatever. But you can't even do that. You really had to just pretend she wasn't there. And, I mean, we didn't always get it on the first
I know, because that's a little difficult to do.
Yeah, it could be challenging at times, but I have to say the directors on the episodes that I did, they were really smart, really, really great directors. We were always in really, really good hands with them. And often the way that they would position us and the way they would position Peyton in the scene, it made it easy. Like a lot of the times Peyton would be in my peripheral. So, you know, it was never like she was right here in front of my face. I had to talk past her. And again, Peyton was so good at, you know, she just became this ghost. Everybody, it was really cool how quickly we all bought into the world that the writers had created for us. And how quickly, you know, when we were first doing the table reads, we were kind of like, okay, wait, so this is a flashback, so she's not a ghost then. And there was an element of us trying to keep track of things. But once we got onto set, it was really cool how quickly everybody just kind of fell into it and really bought into the world that was being created. And I've only seen the first episode. Haven't had a chance to watch the rest of it, but it's cool watching it to see the way it all came together and the, you know, the very distinct difference of the world wherein Peyton exists as a ghost and what's happening in real time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I know when we were shooting it, you know, I had moments where I was like, I wonder if this show is going to be hard to follow, but it's not. It seems pretty clear when we're definitely ghost world and real world. Yeah.
And was there a scene that you had the most fun filming?
You know, it's funny. A scene that I had a lot of fun filming, and I had nothing to do in the scene. There's a scene where it's after the candlelight vigil. We're all outside and we're doing, it's like the search party has come together. And as a group, all the students and the faculty, we're going to comb the woods. And we've all got our little candles and we're kind of walking across this field. That was really fun. And I'll tell you why. It was a very, very long day. It was an exceptionally long day. And that scene had come at the end of the day. And I had been on set all day with Rainbow, who played, Claire. And so her and I had spent the day together. We had spent a lot of time in the green room, and her and Christian and I had played a bunch of games together. We were playing Truth or Dare and playing word games. And so we had just had like a really fun day together. And in that scene, when we're combing the woods, Rainbow and I, we were placed together in our blocking. And it wasn't that the scene itself was that much fun. It was, I just had such a great day hanging out with her and getting to know her and her getting to know me and play and laughing and having a lot of fun. And that was a super, super fun day on set. And I would say the other one was, I mean, I really loved that classroom scene where Simon is talking to me, but Maddie is talking to him, and there's this miscommunication. That was pretty fun.
And you know, I'm, as you can see with the background, I'm a big horror guy, and I like to ask guests this when they're on. Are there any horror films that you like to watch?
Oof, I honestly only got into watching scary movies in 2019. I had a roommate that year who loved Halloween and loved scary movies, and she was like, do you want to start watching scary movies? And I was not into them at all before that. And we started watching them together, and I realized that there was something very fun about watching something really scary with someone else. I don't want to be scared and then be by myself and then be, you know, I can't sleep and I can't walk my dog because I'm afraid I'm going to get murdered. I have very, very overactive imagination and very heightened sense of drama. that I bring upon myself on a regular basis. And we watched a movie called It Follows.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I have such a love-hate relationship with that movie. That was without a doubt the scariest thing I think I've ever seen in my life. It was,
wow, really?
Oh my God, I hated that movie so much. And you've seen It Follows.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so you remember the scene where the big, tall man, the tall guy, anytime he was in a scene, I wanted to die. And then there's this scene where he comes in through the door, and it just like, it was so, all these scary movies, I think what's kind of cool and fun about them is there's this heightened scariness about them. And by the time you get to the end of them, they all sort of inevitably get silly.
True.
They get wrapped up in a way that you're like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. And then you can go to bed. But It Follows like haunted me for like months.
Oh my God, really?
Months after the fact. I remember months later opening up my Instagram, and someone had made a meme with the tall guy from It Follows, and I just was like triggered all over again, and was like, I never want to be subjected to that kind of fear again. Wow. But are there any like super scary movies that I really liked and would watch more than once? I like movies like The Others. I like like when you watch them back, you're like, oh, and you start to see all the little Easter eggs that were put in there for you, but you never would have clocked the first time you watch them. I really like.
Well, yeah, because of how that movie ends. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that kind of thing. But I will say, since that roommate moved out, I haven't watched a scary movie since.
Okay.
I haven't. I don't love them by myself. I get scared really easily.
Okay. Yeah. And if you were gonna do a karaoke song, what would it be?
Well, I mean, this question is hilarious because I love karaoke. It's my absolute favorite going out activity.
Oh, really?
Before the pandemic, it's what I did every year for my birthday.
Nice.
My birthday was a karaoke night. So my karaoke jams, my favorite karaoke song is Tina Turner's Simply the Best.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If I'm feeling vocally ambitious, I will also do Tina Turner's Proud Mary.
Okay.
But it's hard. I have to time that one absolutely perfectly in my night. It can never be my first song, but it can't be too late in the night, because by then I've like wrecked my voice, or I've had a couple too many drinks. And yeah, man, anything by Tina Turner. And if somebody wants like a nice, like kind of ballad from me, I like to do Bonnie Tyler's It's a Heartache.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I have a raspy voice. I have like that deep kind of raspy timbre. Like I don't do well with the really pretty songs, but anything that's kind of growly. And if my friend Brandon is there, him and I will always do Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash's Jackson.
Okay, yeah. Nice.
Those are my go-tos. My friend Janelle and I, sometimes we do this game at karaoke where we get to pick one song for the other person.
Oh, really?
It doesn't matter if you know the song, if you've sung it before, if you like the song. When the other person signs you up for it, you have to sing it.
Oh no, that's horrible.
Yeah, and that's fun. That's a fun game for me.
And what about your drink of choice? If you're out at the bar, like what's your drink of choice?
My drink of choice always, I'm a Scotch girl.
Nice.
I love a Scotch. I always like to think that I could quit drinking, and I always like to think I probably should, but Scotch would be very, very hard for me to give up. And I love I love an Islay Scotch. I love something that's really peaty, really smoky, something that's like gonna take the hair off of your arms. I also, you know, I love a cold beer in the summer.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I just love I love a really good classic, really well-made cocktail. And I love in, you know, the last 10 years, the age of like a really classic, really well-crafted cocktail has come back. And if I'm at a restaurant or a bar and they've got like a really cool cocktail list, like I can always go for something like that. But one, you know, gun to my head, one alcohol allowed for the rest of my life, I am absolutely choosing Scotch.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm more of a Jack person, but Scotch is good too.
I've had too many bad experiences with bourbon and Tennessee mash. I love bourbon in a cocktail. I used to drink bourbon straight. I had a very, very, very bad night with bourbon.
Okay.
I was actually out with, I had mentioned Laura Bell Bundy, who I did Season's Greetings with. I was out with her. She's from Kentucky. And so she knows her bourbon and she likes her bourbon. And that's what we were drinking all night. And I thought that I thought that I could hold my liquor, and I had really met my match. The next morning I woke up, I was in such rough shape. She was fine. You would have thought she was drinking club soda the whole night. She was totally fine. That was like a 24-hour hangover.
Oh my God.
I don't do bourbon. I don't do Tennessee mash. I don't do rye.
Yeah.
That I can't do them straight anymore. But Scotch has not ever betrayed me.
Okay, yeah. That's great. Then that's your drink.
Yeah, that's my drink.
And do you have anything coming up that you want to plug or talk about?
I'm in, I'm doing a show that is on Fox right now. It's called Animal Control. I'm not in it a lot, but it's a super, super funny show. It's Joel McHale plays the lead, and it's the guys that wrote The Wedding Crashers.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
Really funny. It's really that kind of humor, and I play Ravi Patel's wife. So just in a couple of scenes with him, but Ravi is so funny, and the whole cast is really, really funny. And it's just a fun show. So definitely people should check that out. I think I've got an episode of, well, I know I have an episode of Superman and Lois coming out soon. I don't remember which episode it was. I need to find that one out. That's coming out soon. That was also so much fun. Such a great set to be on. Fantastic cast and just the kindest people you could ever work with. And that's about it. I'm just kind of plugging away at auditions and hoping that my next thing comes. I'm hoping School Spirits gets picked up for a second season.
Oh yeah,
it would be a dream come true to get to do that show again and have a reunion with all of that cast. And you never know with this industry.
No, you're right about that.
Every time I'm done a job, I get into ultimate panic mode. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to work again. And that was it. I'm retired now, and no one's ever going to hire me again. And I go into this, like, it's a lot of work to not go into this downward spiral and this like kind of like doomsday mentality. And so right now I'm kind of just, I'm just auditioning and hoping my next gig comes up.
Well, I hope something big comes up.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And lastly is, where can fans follow you at?
I'm on Instagram. My handle is just my name. It's I think it's Kalyn_Miles. But they can type in my name and I'm on there. And please do follow me. I have like 5 followers, and I think one of them is my dog and the other one's my mom. But please do follow me. and I think I'm on Twitter. I don't tweet very often. Twitter kind
Okay.
of, you know, I'm on TikTok. I never use it. My niece and I have a goal that I need to get on TikTok. I recently started doing these little baking videos that I was doing on Instagram last week, and I want to start doing them on TikTok. But I promised my niece, who's 21, and she is the age of TikTok, I promised her that my very first TikTok post was going to be a video that I did with her. So my niece is in town here, so that's coming up soon. And yeah, I welcome anybody on social media. And when you asked if I have anything else coming up, and I was talking about we're always looking for our next gig. I've got to say, because we were talking about wrestling before.
Yes.
So have you watched Glow?
Oh, yeah.
So Glow is my dream show.
Okay.
Like, somebody were to say to me, gun to your head, Kalyn, you get one. You get to pick one show. Glow is my ideal. Something like Glow, Brooklyn Nine-Nine are the two types of shows that I would absolutely die to do. Something that's like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because it's a police procedural, but it's absolutely hilarious. And same as Glow. Glow has just got this, it's so brilliant, but then it's got like the action of the wrestling.
Well, yeah,
and
exactly.
Strong female characters, and really highlighting ethnic diversity and highlighting just like the power that comes with not only being female, but being female and being different, and being really showing this thing that goes against the Hollywood standard that we're all raised to believe was the only thing that existed really until like the last 5-6 years, and showing like these powerhouse women that just bring something so brilliant and so different and so interesting to the industry. That would be my absolute dream job. So, you know, this is just a shameless plug in case the creators of Glow are listening right now and want to put me in something. I can learn how to body slam.
Yeah, definitely. Glow, the TV series of Glow was good, and even the old Glow, like the 80s Glow, like the real Glow, like
I didn't know about the old Glow until I watched Glow, and then I researched and I was like, oh my god, this is based on the thing. And then I went down the rabbit hole and like just watched absolutely everything I possibly could about it, because it was so
that was amazing. Like the acting wasn't that great, but it was fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. But then in the new one, the acting is absolutely sensational.
Oh,
Betty Gilpin, are you kidding me? Like, was so brilliant in it, and just like I said, these powerhouse female driven characters. I just live for it. I love it, and I find it very, very inspiring.
Wow, nice. You know, if Glow was still on the air, I would love to have seen you on that show.
Absolutely. They need to do a spin-off of some kind.
I know, exactly. That'd be awesome.
What is your favorite scary movie?
Whoa, that sounds like Scream. My favorite one is probably, like, you have to be like a diehard horror fan to know this one. It's called Night of the Demons.
Oh,
it's like a 1989, I think it was made. Like, it's a old 80s horror movie, but I just love that movie. I don't know why they made 3 of them too.
And will you watch a scary movie more than once? Like, if you really like, oh, you will. See, like, I will watch it once. I don't ever need to see it again. I watched it. I did it. I know how it's going to turn out. It's not like a rom-com where like I want to watch it over and over and like have all the feels. I'm like, I watched it. I'm good now. I don't ever need to do that again.
Yeah, I'm a big horror guy. Like, I could watch them like all the time, and I'll watch one horror movie like over and over. And
I love that. That's great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to hold you up anymore. It was
Okay.
really nice meeting you,
I'm
and
so grateful. This was so nice.
this was a lot of fun. I'm really happy we got a chance to do it.
I am too. And thank you so much for watching School Spirits, and thank you for
Yeah.
promoting it. And I hope, I hope all your listeners tune in and watch it. It really is a very good show. It's a very special show. And I really just appreciate it.
Sweet. Well,
Thanks.
everyone who hasn't seen it, go out and see School Spirits. It's on Paramount Plus, and you can watch episode after episode, and it's
And every
definitely
episode
worth
has
watching.
a cliffhanger. There's a little cliffhanger at the end of every episode.
There is.
So
There
yeah,
is.
it'll keep you guessing for sure. Thank you so much. It was so nice meeting you.
Yeah, it was really nice meeting you. Thanks again for doing this.
Thank you for having me. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.